In this example, we have two types of time series data. The first one is a continuous time series of production, shown as the blue bars, where we have a production machine, production run number, and we can see that within a given day, so in this particular case, we're looking at April 1st, 2017, with an axis that's going by hour. So this machine did a production run from this time to this time, and another one from here to here, here to here. And what we're looking for is to see if we have the data in this database that contains a series of defects that were identified. So in the next shift after these guys at 11 p.m. there were some defects detected, but for whatever reason we don't have the data to show on this machine what the production run number was for this defect. However, in other cases we do, like in this early shift here from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. we can see a defect was detected within this blue bar and another one detected here. So we're not always guaranteed to have the data, the production data, that contains the time sequence in which the defect was detected later on, but we want to find the ones that we do have. So we could see it visually. We can see wherever red dots within a blue bar, that means we've detected the production run where the defect occurred. So the question is, how can we use Tableau to more readily isolate these? Well, I'm going to show you how that's done. I'm going to build this situation out, and then we'll take the next step, which is to separate the events where the defect was found versus where it's not found. So the defect is found as true, shows me all the cases over here where we found the production run. In some cases we were very close, but no dice. We didn't get any for like this run here where we didn't have enough data coming through to the time when the defect was found. So we were able to detect 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in this case, and several of them we couldn't. Now let's go ahead and build this out to see how does this happen? How do we make this thing work? Well, the first thing we do is take a look at the data. We have a production start and a production end time, and we need to be able to show the bars, the Gantt chart, we need a duration for that, and we'll calculate that in a minute. We also have the defect detection date. So let's get started by building this thing out. So if we look back at what we had before, we started with we're going to limit this thing in time and limit this thing in date so that we don't have so much data. So to begin with, let's go ahead and do that. So let's see, the production, we'll limit this thing using the month and year. Show this as put this thing in as a filter. And we'll just use April to begin with. And we're going to put the production machine on here. Get rid of this, the production machine. We're going to put the production run number out here. Okay, so that begins to build out. We're going to put our start date, production start date, up as a column, and we're going to bring it down to the minute level of detail. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we're going to do a sort so that we use the start date, the minimum of the start date, as the to get the events sorted within a production run, within a production machine. So now we see that we've got a series of events on this machine coming through. Next thing we're going to do, we have too many data points here, so I'm going to put a filter on the day that we're going to use. So we want the day, and we want that to be discrete. So we use all of them, and I'm going to show that filter. And let's rearrange these and make this only relevant. And we'll just use April 1st. So now we're limited down to fewer machines. The next thing we're going to do is put the duration on here to take a look at this time series of events. So how do you calculate product duration? Well, let's take a look at that. It's a date-time difference set at the minute level with the difference between the production start time, production end time, divided by 1440 minutes per day. So if we take product duration and put it on size, suddenly we get our Gantt chart looking graphic. We'll pick a lighter color blue, put a black border on. Okay, so now we're beginning to visualize the sequence of events that we have here. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to introduce the second data set now, which is the defect data detection date. So we're going to drop that up here. Whoops, let's go back, do that again. The defect detection date. We're going to set this thing to minute level. I'm going to rearrange them. Okay, and this thing is going to become a secondary axis, so we're going to go dual axis on it. And we're also going to have to synchronize these axes. Okay, so now for the defect, we don't want it to be a bar. We don't need a size on it. We want it to be a shape. And we'll just pick a solid bar, a solid diamond. Okay. And we might bump the size up on that a little bit, make it easier to see. So we've got some blue diamonds and some red bars. In fact, we're going to change the colors on those because I think it's easier to go the other way around, to set the dots to red and the bars to blue. Okay. So now that we have built out the basic viz, we could see the events that are included within the time series of the production run. Now what we have to do is to be able to identify which ones fit within the span shown within the bars. So that's a calculated field. That's just a time date calculation, and what we're going to do is take a look at that one. And so we're going to just set this as a Boolean value. We're going to say if the production start time is less than or equal to the defect detection date, and the defect detection date is less than or equal to the production end date, then call it true, otherwise call it false. So if now we just take defect found and lay it up here on the axis, the events that are found get separated for us automatically. And so we can choose to look at what we find. If we just want to put a filter, show the filter on that and just show only the true values. These are the events that we're able to track where we have the defect within a time series of a production run. Of course, we could do that for more days. We can do it for the entire month of April. When you do that, of course, the time frame begins shrinking down, but we can see what we've detected on any given day for any given machine, any given month. So that's really the event visualizer, the way it's done, the way you use some calculated fields to show what you found, and some little trickery with date-time differences, setting up a Gantt chart, just making sure you synchronize your axes, and once you have all that done, you've got the complete picture ready for you. Thanks for listening.